Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, Juvenile Bureau detectives are investigating the non-fatal stabbing of two high school students on St. Thomas. Police said the injuries occurred during a fight between a male and a female student near Building B on the Shalimali High School campus. Another female student intervened, attempting to part the fight, and both females were stabbed by the male.
This incident happened at about 12 noon on May 24th. Police said the female students, aged 15 and 16, were taken to the Schneider Regional Medical Center for treatment of gashes to their forearms, and that one student also had a knife wound to the back of her neck. The male student, who is 17 years old, is in police custody. Criminal Investigation Bureau detectives and forensic technicians were also involved in the investigation of this case, which will be followed up by the Juvenile Investigation Bureau detectives.
While police on St. Croix are investigating a discharging of shots in Estate Carlton on May 23rd, which left a male victim with a gunshot wound on his hand. The victim was unable to give police any information due to pain he was feeling from his injury. Police continued their investigation and found gunshot damage to a residence in the neighborhood. Several spent shell casings were collected near the residence. Additionally, the eastern fence of the property was damaged and a black firearm was recovered near the fence line. The investigation continues. VI police officer Angelo Hill was arrested Friday by federal agents and charged with conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine as part of the investigation of DPNR's Chief of Enforcement Roberto Tapia. The release issued by the U.S. Attorney's Office stated Hill made his initial appearance in district court today on St. Thomas before Magistrate Judge Ruth Miller and was ordered held without bail pending a detention hearing May 28th. Tapia, along with co-conspirators Eddie Lopez and Stephen Torres, have all been arrested as part of a drug conspiracy investigation. Well, almost 7 months after the 2012 general elections, no findings have been released by the Attorney General Vincent Fraser, nor has he stated they've even completed an investigation, and no word on if the U.S. Attorney's Office, who has federal jurisdiction, plans to step in. News 2's Erica Bivens brings us an update on the new voting machines that have finally arrived.
On Election Day, voters place their trust in the election system that their votes will be counted accurately. But in the Virgin Islands, many voters challenged the 2012 elections, citing outdated voting machines that are not EAC certified as required by local and federal law. Attorney General Vincent Fraser launched an investigation following those complaints, but 7 months later, Fraser has not issued any findings, nor has he indicated the investigation was completed. Meanwhile, the U.S. Attorney's Office, who has federal jurisdiction to step in if the local government doesn't intervene, is also not talking. But at a recent Board of Elections meeting, Harry Daniel asked Arturo Watlington to follow up with Fraser. Has he?
I'm glad you reminded me of that. I will be following up with a letter to him asking about if there's still a pending investigation on the conduct of the 2012 election.
Voters use the old machines because the Attorney General advised the election system to, since they didn't have the new machines. But $600,000 later, the new DS200 voting machines have arrived.
Here on island, in the custody of Bob Lynch Trucking, and more than likely we'll have them cleared today and have them in the offices hopefully over the weekend and start to go through the process of educating ourselves and then educating the rest of the public.
And this time, they're EAC certified. They also scan paper ballots and are supposed to help speed up the process of counting paper ballots by hand. Last year, it took over a week to count a few thousand paper ballots. According to the Voting News, in the state of Maine, several towns were offered the same voting machines for free. However, they turned them down. Several states have also noted errors with the DS200s, the same machines we just received. For News 2, I'm Erica Bivens.
Now, the company still has to come down in June to do an acceptance test of the machines, calls the Attorney General Vincent Fraser, and Assistant U.S. Attorney Alfonso Andrews were not returned on Friday. Governor John P. DeYoung Jr. and Delegate to Congress Donna Christensen hailed a recent ruling by the U.S. Tax Court in Washington, D.C. The court ruled that the federal statute of limitations applies to VI taxpayers who file locally, even if the U.S. Internal Revenue Service disputes the amount of taxes. The 2006 IRS rule stated that the 3-year statute of limitations on IRS audits did not apply to VI residents. Both agree the ruling is good for the VI Economic Development Program. and for all VI taxpayers. Well, the banking experience is about to get much easier for Banco Popular customers across the territory. On Wednesday, the financial institution held a press conference to announce the launching of their new campaign titled Every Second Counts. The new campaign, officials say, features a series of new tools and services that will help to streamline customer banking experiences so that they are able to spend more time doing the things that are important to them. Among these new features are a newly designed app and ATMs.
It was very important for us in the bank to put ourselves on the shoes of our customers when we think about giving them the flexibility and the opportunity to do banking through different channels, just to allow them to have more time for what really matters to them.
As both Gabriela and Angelo has mentioned, the key concept of our campaign is to simplify the lives of our clients, to give them vehicles to make their business functions, their personal functions, all of their financial needs more efficient.
The Office of Veterans Affairs is inviting all residents to take part in their Memorial Day events, beginning with St. Thomas Sunday, May 26. The VI National Guard's 73rd Army Band will be performing at Roosevelt Park from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Then annual ceremonies will take place on Monday. On St. John, the VA office will be distributing flags to both Moravian churches. On St. Thomas, a procession begins at 9:30 a.m. at the Western Cemetery, traveling to Waterfront for a seaside ceremony, and then Roosevelt Park for a program. On St. Croix, the procession begins at Frederickstead Post Office at 8:30 a.m., traveling to the pier, and then bandstand for their program. A national moment of silence will be observed at 3 p.m. in addition to something new this year.
Not only veterans who died in actual combat, but veterans who have passed on, their family members, they too are considered survivors, and we're going to be dedicating a portion of our program to them. On that day, we're going to be distributing dolls for them.
Meanwhile, turning our attention to the States, we're learning more details about a bridge collapse that has forced the closure of a major highway north of Seattle right at the start of the holiday weekend. 3 people are recovering after their cars plunged 25 feet into the river below. Teresa Garcia has the latest on their harrowing escape and the investigation.
A massive chunk of Interstate 5 sits in the Skagit River about 1 hour north of Seattle. An 18-wheeler carrying drilling equipment hit an overhead bridge girder, causing it to collapse and sending cars into the water.
Riverside Bridge over I-5 just collapsed. We have vehicles in the water.
Bryce Kenning was driving one of those cars.
There's just like a huge explosion in front of me, and the ground on the bridge is falling into the water, and I just took a huge nosedive.
Dan Sly and his wife saw the big rig's load slam into the steel span.
Hit the bridge about 3 or 4 feet wider than the actual bridge was, and we went right off with the bridge.
The cars started to rush with water, and that was when I kind of thought I wasn't going to make it, you know.
Bryce, Dan, and his wife were rescued with minor injuries. The tractor-trailer driver volunteered to take a blood alcohol test and was not arrested.
The size of the load that he was carrying appeared to create a problem.
The state's transportation secretary says the bridge was inspected and repaired twice last year, but the Federal Highway Administration lists the 58-year-old bridge as functionally obsolete, meaning the design is outdated.
We need to make sure that we prioritize our investments in infrastructure, put our money into improving our bridges and roads.
71,000 vehicles travel through here every day. Traffic is being rerouted, and with even more cars on the road this Memorial Day weekend, backups are expected for miles and miles. Teresa Garcia, CBS News.
And keeping our eye on the economy, Delta Airlines is up in the ante in the battle for the lucrative New York travel market. The airline opened its $1.4 billion terminal at JFK Airport today. It replaces an outdated Concourse Pan Am built 53 years ago. The new terminal offers upscale food, shopping options, increased seating, and more outlets for electronics. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. The Dow up 8, NASDAQ and S&P both down. Coming up on News 2, they say laughter is the best medicine, and it's no joke. Coming up this weekend is a great lineup of some belly-rolling comedy. Plus, Dion Parson is in the territory again, conducting his Mentoring Through the Arts of Music program. More about how this program has become music to the ears of many. Parson is in the territory again, conducting his Mentoring Through the Arts of Music program, this time on St. Thomas and St. John. When he was on St. Croix earlier this year, News 2 caught up with the musicians who have committed to giving back to their younger generation. News 2's Erica Parsons has that story.
Free community jazz concerts every other month have become a staple across the VI when Dion Parson and friends are in town. It's all part of their Mentoring Through the Arts of Music program, started 4 years ago.
What we do, we go into the schools and we basically give workshops and clinics and try to identify the average kids and the most interested kids in the field of music, and we try to nurture them and give them the tools that they need within a short amount of time.
It's been a long-time dream for the musicians.
Dion and I have been praying to get to this level for a long time, so I'm glad to see that it's finally getting some legs, and that we'll be able to keep this kind of thing happening for the students of the Virgin Islands.
In March, the musicians visited several St. Croix schools, one of which was Elena Christian Junior High. Parson says when they identify students interested in pursuing music, they create a program and then track their progress through teachers.
Every time we visit the Virgin Islands, we check up on them and see how they're doing. Try to give them enough information to keep them for our next visit. And for those that's like in 12th grade that's graduating and getting ready to go off to college, we try to help them to identify suitable colleges, and we follow them through college also, and in some cases help them get employment in college and outside of college.
I know for sure it has worked well with my students. I have some students who have gone away, my former students when I was at the educational complex, who have gone away to study music because of the mentoring program with Dion Parsons and Reginald Senchi and other guys.
It's also inspiring for the younger students.
I never really looked into jazz, and it inspired me to look more into it. I'm actually looking for a CD to listen to it a little bit more and look into it and maybe start fiddling with it and playing it a little bit.
Bringing Dion and letting the kids have the experience of hearing jazz, because on this level, really, jazz isn't taught that much.
Funding comes in part from the Department of Tourism, but it's mostly from the VI Council on the Arts under DPNR.
Commissioner Barnes has been very, very successful in securing the funding for us and also encouraging us to pursue this in the sense of allowing us to be able to communicate with the teachers. In May, we're going to have Jonte Samuel and Kai Richardson coming back from Berkeley College, where they are, and William Patterson College, and they're going to be going into the schools with me now, mentoring the kids that we've identified.
It sort of completes the cycle of what we do as musicians. It's all, part of what you do is you perform and you study, but a part of what you do is you teach. You pass on everything that you learn to youngsters, and to be able to do it here at home on a regular basis is a lifelong dream.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
This Memorial Day weekend, Pin Up in Paradise has planned a Memorial Day beach bash at Hull Bay. They say it's for a great cause. They are promoting mental illness awareness, and the proceeds will go to the USO and Clear Blue Sky. There will be a dunk tank, raffle giveaways, games, vendor booths, and the works of local artists featured. Music begins at 11:30 a.m. featuring Barefoot Davis and a fire show at sunset. They say laughter is the best medicine, and it's no joke. Coming up this weekend is a great lineup of talented comedians at Island Flavor. Chef John stopped by our studios to give us all the details.
Well, Island Flavor has evolved through the community. We actually started as Flavor Restaurant in Market Square, and I opened up Island Flavor in Crown Bay. It's basically Caribbean food, a little bit of international fusion, but we try to do a little something for everybody from every categories: pork category, beef category, chicken, seafood, and vegetarian on a daily basis. Crucian Rum has been a great sponsor also. Crucian Rum, we primarily spike our lemonades with Crucian. We've just been taking it to the next level with doing special events for Carnival. We had some really nice special events with some local and international artists, reggae, soca, calypso, and for a very long time I've been thinking about doing a really nice comedy show. I just wanted to invite the entire community out. If you can come on out and support us at Island Flavor. We're trying to bring some laughter, which is the best medicine in the community. So come on and get your dose of laughter at Island Flavor for the Caribbean comedy series called Laughter's the Best Medicine, featuring Brooklyn Mike, A.G. White, and Rob Stapleton, Saturday, May 25th, down at Island Flavor. Doors open at 8. Show starts at 9 p.m. sharp, and as soon as the show is done, you don't even have to leave. You can work off the food and all the drinks that you have with DJ Pete and the classic old school party. I'm going to raffle off an entire Southern Red Velvet cake for the comedy show.
Like a whole lot of fun. Well, we welcome back our Pet of the Week segment. Tonight, we introduce you to Brownie. He has been at the shelter for about 4 months and is in need of a good home. He's very energetic, playful, and very obedient. You can call the Humane Society shelter at 775-0599 for more information.
He's a 1-year-old, kind of a coconut retriever with a little lab mixed in. Very, very energetic, and he's looking for a home. He could really use one. Very, very good dog. And if you guys need to get your pets spayed or neutered, come on down. We can help you out.
Very cute. Stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.